Hey y'all, it's Amanda. Welcome back to my channel, and today is going to be a video that is a historical fiction recommendations video. A lot of you all have asked for this, and I'm so excited to be able to put this together. I've read so many books this year. I think right now I'm at 114 or so, so just trucking right along. This is the year that I've read the most books ever, and so with all of that being said, I had asked you all what videos you all wanted to see, and many of you said recommendations videos, and I've actually never done a full genre-based recommendations video. So a couple weeks ago, they've been sitting on my shelf forever, so I need to film this so I can put them away, but a couple weeks ago, I did pull out all of these different historical fiction books, as y'all seen from the thumbnail. Me and these thumbnails now. I don't know, but I pulled out so many that were on my shelf. There's several that I've read that are not on my shelf I want to talk about as well. I'm going to try to be as brief as I can. I just read a lot of good books, and my favorite genre is historical fiction, historical romance. It's just something I love so much, and I just want to share some of my favorites with you guys. Some of these are 3.5, 4, 5-star reads. I just think that there's something for everybody here in this video. So I hope that y'all enjoy this video. Let's go ahead and jump right in. A lot of books on this list, and if you want to watch some other recommendations video, Oshina recently did one as well, and I will link her video below. She had some great recommendations there too. So let's go ahead and get started, because this is going to be long enough. I'm not going to go into too much detail. I say that. Preface. Okay. Hey, got me a new cup. ASMR. So the first books I'm going to talk about, I can't talk about historical without talking about Francine Rivers. Y'all already know these books, A Voice in the Wind and An Echo in the Darkness, have wrecked me. They have left me just, I don't even know, like speechless. My heart is all I can say. They're so faith-filled. Francine really knows how to just bring the emotion to the table. She just touches your heart, draws you nearer to the Lord, and I just adored these so much. I'm so thankful that I read both of these at such a time in my life. If I would have read these 10 years ago, boy, these would have really changed my life. I have already changed my life in my 30s, but our main character, Hadassah, she has got strong faith. She loses all of her family. She is in Jerusalem when Jews are being killed and sold for slavery, and she is one that is sold into slavery, and she becomes a house slave to a family, and everything kind of takes off from there in her journey. And just throughout her journey with them, she is continuing to share her faith in Jesus because she is a Christian, and she keeps it hidden because Jews were persecuted, but Christians were really persecuted and killed and martyred, and it was awful during that time. You think about the post-Jesus timeline during the period of Acts, the disciples. I mean, everything that they went through. Is some hard topics and violence in this story, but honestly, this is a biblical fiction story that portrays a lot of what happens in the Bible itself. A lot more in the Bible is more violent than what even happens in these. So, I mean, consider the source here. I mean, we are I think that we should be aware of the content, but I understand that this doesn't even touch what's happened in the actual Bible itself. I think these books do a phenomenal job of just touching your heart, drawing you near to the Lord, and seeing what it truly means to forgive someone, and just how to serve others, y'all. These books are just phenomenal. The ending is my favorite of all time here. I'm telling y'all, this is my favorite ending of any book I've ever read before. Maybe it's just so recent in my feels, but it really is. So, if you read book 1, make sure you have book 2 on deck, because you're going to need it. So, yeah, I think that Francine also really just hones in on the biblical era and that time period. She did her research and everything. It just seems like you're there. It seems so realistic. 5 out of 5 on both of these. Amazing. I also want to mention briefly Redeeming Love. I need to reread this. It's been many years. I don't remember a lot about this. It's not fresh in my mind, but I know that we have just great redemption in the Lord in this story. I highly recommend this. There is some sexual content that some people are not a fan of, but I feel like that this is very important for just in relation to real life. And how many people have come back to the Lord and come out of hard things with the Lord in this story. And it's just very impactful for a lot of people, including myself. I think if I had read this 10 years ago, this would have been definitely a life-changing story. It's just... wow, Francine just really knows. I need to read all her books, y'all. So Francine Rivers is an author that is a great historical fiction author. Francine just knows how to bring all this stuff to the table. I keep saying that, but it's the truth. So yes, I need to reread this though. I really want to do that before I ever watch the movie. I've not watched the movie. At some point I will do like a vlog, a reading vlog where I read this and watch the movie. That'll probably be in 2023, but yeah, that's on my list. So the next book I'm going to talk about is Heirlooms by Sandra Bird. I give this 3.5 stars. I rated it up to 4 on Goodreads. This is a multi-generational story surrounding Helen DeVries. She's a Navy widow who opens her home up to a Korean refugee, Choi Yoon-hee, and we follow both of their stories together. Both of their husbands have passed away in the Korean War timeline, and this is a dual timeline story. We're following them together back in 1958, and then we cut to their granddaughters in the present day, Cassidy and Grace, and they are just digging into the past, and they're unearthing all these long-held secrets between their grandmothers that they never expected. So I really enjoyed this. This does have... some things in here really triggered me a little bit though, like regarding people with disabilities. We have just some things in the past that are shown with how they treated babies with disabilities like autism and Down syndrome, and that was really hard for me. So that impacted my reading experience personally, but and I struggled while I was reading this a little bit, but it was still a really great story. And I really appreciated the advocacy on that side. In the present day, we had a lot of that. And even in the past, we had some of it, but it was just hard to get through for me personally, because my son does have autism, and it was hard, but I really appreciated everything in that story. So regarding the advocacy part, I like this story. So I think if you like a multi-generational story, it has some good faith content, you will enjoy this. I would have liked a little bit more of the faith content, but it was still good. And yeah, I recommend this. The next book I'm going to talk about is a classic. How can you talk about historical without talking about some of these classics? We're going to go through these really quick. Pride and Prejudice, highly recommend. Just a really good time. If you've not seen my Pride and Prejudice vlog, I will link it. It was hilarious. I need to do another Jane Austen, Book Lover Amanda version reaction to some of the things, but maybe with Persuasion, that's kind of on my list. And a lot of y'all really like that. So, but yeah, Pride and Prejudice is just like the ultimate love story. I don't know, something about this just touches my heart. Love Mr. Darcy. And then the way that this ends is just amazing. So yeah, Pride and Prejudice, y'all got to see it, honey. Yes, ma'am. And then The Blue Castle by Ellen Montgomery. I love this. This is a really great standalone. I know there's a lot of mixed reviews on this. Some people have said that they feel like the main character is very rude and uncalled for, and I could see that a little bit, but I personally, in my experience, have related to her a lot from what she went through. This is about Valancy, who basically takes her back her life, and I don't know if I'm saying her name right, Valancy or Valancy, you already know, but she's taking back her life because people are just... her family is just very controlling over her, and they pretty much try to tell her everything is to do, and they're mean to her anyway in general, and she kind of claps back. And some of the things I could see are rude, but I don't know. I felt like her at one time, and I could see this. So, I don't know. What does that say about me? But I don't know. I really love this story. I feel like I related to her in many ways. And yeah, Ellen Montgomery is a new favorite author for sure. And then you can't talk about Ellen Montgomery without talking about Anne of Green Gables. I read this just this week. Absolutely loved it. Can't wait to talk about it on my wrap up. But y'all, Anne's excitement for life is just amazing. It really brings just a sense of joy and happiness to me. Like, little Amanda would have loved this as a child. I just felt the little girl in me just jumping for joy. She has such a great imagination and beautiful heart, and she just, I said that I feel like Anne just lives off the page. Like, everything about her is amazing. I love this story so much. I can't wait to continue on. If you have not read this, please read this. If you don't know what this is about, short version, this brother and sister go to adopt a little boy, but they get a girl instead, 11 years old, and they're like, what do we do with this girl? They end up keeping her, and their whole lives are changed forever. It's beautiful. Absolutely love this. Anne is just an amazing character, one of my favorite characters of all time, and I can't wait to read more of her adventures. The next book I want to talk about, I actually read on NetGalley, and that is The Bookshop of Secrets by Molly Rushmeyer. I absolutely love this book. I give this 4 out of 5 stars. It's just, wow, for a debut story, this has so many different layers. It's really all about starting over, finding restoration in the Lord, finding those lost secrets, and more about your family's history. I adored this. Like, this story centers basically around Hope Sparrow. She's running from her past, many years of never really staying anywhere too long, and she goes to Vanishing Falls, and she's looking for her family's history within these books that are missing. Her mother passed away and left these books in someone's possession at this bookshop, which the bookshop was called Dusty Jackets. Hey, you already know. She ends up going to the small town bookshop, trying to find the books, find her family's secrets. There's something about a missing treasure. It's a good time. There are some trigger warnings in this book for human trafficking, but it's kind of off page. It's pretty much off page for the most part. You don't really get a lot of details, thankfully, but they are discussing human trafficking and what she went through and her struggles, and so that's just want to make you aware of that. There is also PTSD, panic attacks, and a main character in here with dementia, so I just want to mention those trigger warnings there. But this was very engaging, an emotional read, and it has all the details you love about a good bookshop. Just a mystery aspect too, like just trying to figure out where are the books, what's in the books, is there a secret treasure. It's a good time. There's also a romance in this, so yeah, I had a lot of fun with this, and I gave this 4 out of 5 stars, so yeah, I highly recommend that. Next book I want to talk about is The Lost Melody by Joanna Davidson Politano. I'm not going to talk too much about this because I already did a review in one of my recent wrap-ups, but this recently released in October, and you need to read A Midnight Dance before you read this. It briefly spoils a couple that's in A Midnight Dance to me. And so, yeah, like I would just want, if it was me, I'm glad that I read A Midnight Dance first. I highly recommend both of these books. They're really engaging, very historical. A Midnight Dance has all the ballet aspects, a really great story. If you love dance, you're going to love it. And then The Lost Melody primarily is in an asylum the entire time, so if you want to see more of my thoughts, I will link the video where I did like a very lengthy discussion on this book, spoiler free of course, but I really enjoyed this. I gave it 4 stars. A lot of people are enjoying this, but just want you to be aware of like a trigger there, medical trauma, an asylum, all of those things. So I will link the video if you want more details about this, and of course the books will all be linked below, but I had a really good time, and I really want to read more of Joanna's books in the future. I actually just got the Love Note in the mail, so I do plan to read that as well. Okay, so for Regency reads, if you like Regency historical, I think Abigail Wilson is an author that you would enjoy. She writes clean fiction. I wouldn't say that they're Christian. It's published by Thomas Nelson, but not necessarily any real faith content. But I recently read Within These Gilded Halls, and this was a really great Regency romance mystery story. I just had a lot of fun with this. There's like a death in here, trying to figure out who killed this person, and there's all these crazy shenanigans that went on. And I will link my review video I think it may be in the same video as The Lost Melody, but I will link that in the card. Check that out if you want to hear more of my thoughts there. I did a vlog, so I've already talked about that extensively on my channel, but Abigail Wilson is an author that I think that if you really like Regency historical, you're going to like her. She kind of has that Julie Klassen vibe, Jane Austen vibe, Agatha Christie, kind of all into one. I give Within These Gilded Halls 3.5. I rounded it up to 4 on Goodreads. And then I really liked The Vanishing at Loxby Manor by her. So if you haven't read that, I highly recommend it. It was like mysterious. I really enjoyed it. It was great. The mystery was my favorite part in that. And she just describes ballrooms and Regency halls very well, and yeah, they're always a really good time. Like I said, I wish there was faith content in these, though. That's my only downside with her books is I always feel like there's opportunity for faith that we never get to see, but still a really good, clean Regency romance, historical, all that good stuff. Another author I guess we'll just talk about really fast is, of course, Kim Sawyer, The Librarian of Boone's Hollow, and Still My Forever are two books that I recently read. Of course, I've read the second book to this one as well, but those two books are books that I read this year, and I absolutely love them. I loved this one more than Still My Forever, but I'll link my videos here where I did like the reviews on these books. But this book is set in the Great Depression, 1930s, all about Addie. She's a girl in college. Her parents can't afford to keep her in college. She has to come back home. And so her father lost the job, so she's got to get a job to help her family. And so she dreams of becoming an author, and she just loves reading. And so she gets a job at Boone's Hollow as a librarian delivering books by horseback. And there's all these crazy things that go on. She ends up living with this woman named Nanny Faye. Loved Nanny Faye. If y'all know, you know. We have 4 perspectives in this book: Addie, and Emmett, Nanny Faye, and Bettina. And I'm really glad that we had Bettina's perspective because you just really felt for her and everything she was going through with her family. It's set in Kentucky. Love the setting. Just everything about this, really cute little romance. The romance is not like primarily the story in this, but it does have a side romance in here. Just very sweet and endearing, and yeah, I just highly recommend this. Great historical fiction. You got to read Kim Sawyer. And then Still My Forever recently came out in August, and this was a cute little historical romance, and it's set in like a little Mennonite community in Kansas, early 1900s. And I really like this because if you like music, you're going to love this story. I give this 4, I don't know if it's 3.5 or 4. Yeah, I give this 4. I give this 4 stars. It's basically about like a rekindled romance. That's all we need to know. It was cute. I liked Boone's Hollow better, but this was still a good read. So Kim Sawyer is an author I really want to read more of for sure. And Jane Kirkpatrick is an author that I'm interested in. This is the first book I ever read by her this year. I did a full review on this, so I will link that as well. There'll be lots of links. I may run out of cards, so check the description. But she writes books that are about real life historical figures, and I had so much fun reading this. Very historically written book. So if you are not like a big historical fiction person, I probably wouldn't recommend this. There's not really like romance in this. It's strictly historical fiction to me. There is like a story of someone in their romance and how their life went, but this is all about Molly Ronan and her life in the 1800s with her father and just everything that she went through, getting married, like just her whole life story is in this book. And I really enjoyed it. Had a good time with this. If you want to read a book about a real historical figure, I would read this. It has a lot of great prairie settings, gold rush time period, details surrounding Native American culture, and you get to just learn all about a notable historical figure as well. So, then I want to talk about Pepper Basham. Y'all, let's be real here. I loved these books. I have this one in physical copy. I don't have the first one. The first one is Laurel's Dream. I loved it so much. I gave it 4.5 stars. It's just a beautiful, heartfelt Southern story set in the Appalachian Mountains about Laurel and Jonathan in the Blue Ridge Mountains just trying to like navigate their life together. Laurel is a character who's very strong-willed. She lives in the Blue Ridge Mountains. Then all of a sudden Jonathan Taylor comes in and he is from England. He is like the odd duck. Everybody's like, who is this guy? And so they end up forming a relationship, and it's just beautiful to see. I mean, his family, there's a lot of crazy stuff going on with his family back home, and he's kind of trying to prove himself. He was discharged from the war, and then she's trying to like become a teacher, and just all the things there, and all these people around are like, who is this guy? So it's just a really good time. Great faith content in her books. I love them so much. Great historical setting. And then we have the continuation, which was The Heart of the Mountains. And so this actually followed Cora, who she was Jonathan's sister, and then we had Jeb McAdams, which was Laurel's brother. So I'm struggling. But we followed the siblings in this book from Laurel's Dream. And so, yeah, both of these books are great. I love them. I think I gave this one 5 stars and the other one's 4.5. A good time. Like, just really great books. And so, if you like Appalachian Mountain settings and North Carolina, Tennessee, that kind of stuff, you're going to love this. It had all the Southern stuff that I wanted. Okay, so, yeah. that's it on that. Moving on. Sorry, I'm trying to get through this real fast, y'all. Another book I want to talk about is Where the Road Bends by Rachel Fordham. I read this earlier this year. I really need to get a physical copy for my shelf, but it was a 5-star read. I read this through NetGalley. I adored it so much. It was my first Rachel Fordham read, and I plan to read more of her. This is a really great historical romance. It's in my heart. Like these characters, I love this couple. This is set in 1980 Iowa. We follow Quincy and Nora and new beginnings, beautiful romance, forgiveness. So much going on in this book, y'all. The end leaves you with a full heart. I loved it so much. The whole story is basically Nora is working on her family's farmland. She's unable to make her mortgage payments. She risks losing her property. Some man named Jake says he's going to offer to pay for the land in exchange for her marriage. And then Nora thinks this is the only way she can do this, so she agrees to marry this guy Jake. However, things kind of take a turn for the worse when she meets this man, Quincy. He is pretty much laid out on her land. Something has happened. He's sick. He needs help. So she ends up healing him in her home, which is a no-no back then, but she takes him in and tries to restore him to health. They have like this instant connection, but they don't act on it because she has a scheduled marriage, and so he ends up leaving after all of that, but word got out about Quincy being there, honey, and she didn't get married. So he didn't realize this happened. Everything kind of comes full circle. He found some money that was like in this pocket somewhere. I want to say he found some money. I think it was in a pocket. I can't remember if it's pants, jacket, whatever. And he tries to send it back to her. He goes back, finds out she didn't get married, and everything goes on from there. So it is a really good story. Loved it so much. Highly recommend. I haven't talked about that a whole lot on my channel. It was kind of just like a little bit at the end of a review one time. I really like that book. Y'all got to read it. So another book, I already did a full review on this. Y'all probably done seen me talk about it, so feel free to skip. But By Way of the Moonlight by Elizabeth Musser. I love this so much. I had to have my own copy, and then I was so excited when I got it because it had like a little signed book plate in there from another reason to order from the publisher, y'all. This is honestly in my top 5 books of the year. It's a generational story, maybe top 10 now. I said it wasn't in my top 5 in August. Honey, maybe top 10, but it's still good. I've read so many good books. But this is a generational story about 2 courageous women who basically share their love for horses, family, and what matters most in their life. And that's all we need to know. I'm not going to go into much more detail because I've already talked so much about this book. If you want to know more of my thoughts, look at the video linked in the card or below. If I've run out of cards, I will link all the videos and everything below. But I did a full video on this and adored this book so much. Highly recommend. If you love horses and just a generational story, you're going to love this. And now we're going to talk about Julie Klassen. Y'all, Julie Klassen is just, she writes so well. I love her books. They're so much fun. They're kind of like a Jane Austen, Agatha Christie vibes, especially this one. You just get all the mystery, the intrigue, the romance is always cute. And yeah, you just have a good time. She really researches her settings very well. The first book I'm going to talk about is Castaway in Cornwall. I got a lot of Poldark vibes from this. I love Poldark. So this is like a really great story of love, loss, and just mystery also, because there's a lot of things we're trying to figure out about these characters. So I feel like if you like a good Cornwall setting, you're going to enjoy this. She just really interweaves a good historical setting in with the romance, and that's why I like her. Oshina's talked about her as well, and we both just love her so much. This one's set in 1912, Cornwall, England. It's all about Laura Calloway. She's walking along the shores here, finding lost items that come from shipwrecks when she finds this man one day, Alexander. She finds him, and then they take him, they nurse him back to health. A ship has wrecked, and he's like the only survivor. There's all this stuff going on. Who is this man? What's happened? Where was he? Was he supposed to be on the ship? All this stuff. It was a really good time. I really like the romance in this as well, so I give this 4 stars. Then we have The Bridge to Belle Island. I didn't like this as much as I like this one, but I still give this 3.5, rounded it up to 4 on Goodreads. The ending was really good in this. It pushed it up to a 4. It was like, I remember it being really action-packed, like things were just going down, like everything was happening. This has a lot more of the mystery aspects, I feel like, than the romance, and I think that's what partially was like, we didn't get a whole lot of romance till like the very end, but I still really like this, and the cover is gorgeous, so hey, there's that. This is all about Benjamin Booker, who is investigating a murder. Isabel's trustee is dead, and so Isabel is the prime suspect, honey, and so she ain't left Belle Island in 10 years, so it's all at Belle Island. The bridge to Belle Island is set in Belle Island, and no, she's never left the island, and she knows that there's no way she could have done this murder. She keeps having these weird memories in her mind, and it's like, did she? She starts questioning herself about this man's death, and so a lot of mysterious things are happening. Agatha Christie vibes, cozy mystery vibes, Poirot vibes. I'm telling you right now, a lot of fun reading this. I was on the edge of my seat. So, and I also really like the faith sprinkled throughout the story. So she has always some good faith content in this, but I just wanted more romance in this. So that was it. But I really like this book. So y'all can't have a historical recommendations video without this. Hey, we love a good Lynn Austen book, do we not? Waves of Mercy. I gotta read book 2. It's on my TBR, but hey, I give this 5 stars. This is a dual timeline. We're following an 1897 Holland, Michigan, Anna and Dirk, and then we have Keisha as well. Keisha is writing down her memories of her life in the Netherlands many years ago for the Centennial group, and so you get to see all her past and what she endured. We have Anna and Dirk. Anna has broken her engagement with her fiance. She has lots of questions about her faith. They have a lot of disagreements, and so she's here and she meets Dirk, who is like a hotel worker who plans to go into ministry. They start forming a relationship. It's just a really great story. I primarily like the past with Keisha's story. It was heartbreaking, but just beautiful as well. I cried reading this book. Highly recommend Waves of Mercy, and I need to read more Lynn Austen. Y'all have given me some really great Lynn Austen recommendations. Then we have Until Leaves Fall in Paris by Sarah Sundin. I really enjoyed this. I read this back in April. It's my first Sarah Sundin book, and it's just all about Lucy and Paul. They're 2 Americans that are in France, and Nazis are marching towards France in 1940, and Paul, he is a widower with a little girl named Josie, and Josie is so sweet. I love their story. Lucy ends up buying her Jewish friend's bookshop so that they can make it to safety, and then all of these different messages started getting passed around for the resistance within books in the bookshop, and then we've got Paul's side story where he's like trying to aid the resistance secretly in this automobile place as well in his business, and so there's just a lot of stuff going on. You're on the edge of your seat there, and there's just a really great romance in this story. The ending is really great, and I highly recommend. I really want to read more of her books. So then we have an author that I feel like I should have started with first, because she was one of the first Christian historical fiction authors that I read, and Jennifer Dibble, A Dance in Donegal, and The Lady of Galway Manor. I really enjoyed these books. They are just beautiful, first of all, and then they're set in Ireland. This is set in 1920. Stephen is working in his family's jewelry store, and he plans to go to like another job, so he has a different opportunity elsewhere, but plans change at the arrival of Lady Annabeth de Lacy. She come in, she ends up working as an apprentice at the jewelry store. Anna is also the daughter of the newest landlord of Galway Parish, and so she's had like this very high entitled life, and she's used to all the finer things in life and sophistication. Her father really doesn't like the people of Ireland at all, so there's all this stuff going on, political intrigue there. Anna soon realizes that what her father believes is not true about these people. They are just really great people. She's formed such a great relationship with these people, but the people of Ireland are not really fond of her because of her father and all the political stuff going on. And so Stephen and her kind of start forming a bond, but he has had a past heartbreak and he don't really want to open up, and you're like, is he going to find love again? Yeah, this was just really great, and the Christian faith in this perfectly describes like Jesus's death on the cross for us and his sacrifice and his love for us. I really enjoyed this book. I gave this 5 stars. And then the first NetGalley arc I ever read was A Dance in Donegal. And Jennifer is just honestly such a great person. I've talked to her on Instagram. She kindly sent me some stuff in the mail for my giveaway when I did it. She's just a really good person. And so I cannot wait to read her newest release coming out next year. But I don't know which one of these I love more. It's hard. I love them both so much differently. They're just so great. Like the setting in Ireland just touches my heart. The historical aspect there, the romance is good. This teaches us a lot of biblical truths, and it showed how we can love our enemies and show love to others even when we feel like they don't deserve it. This was all about Moria Darty. Sorry, I gotta look. I can't remember. It's been a year since I read this, but I just remember the biblical truths being so prevalent in this book. So her mother died unexpectedly in 1920, and so she is compelled to fulfill her dying wish. That's right. So she ends up becoming a teacher in Ballyman, and she goes to this beautiful village in Donegal, Ireland, and everything is challenging for her. I remember when she first gets there, like her cabin's like all messed up. What is this? Because it's just an unfamiliar place for her. The locals, very few locals are offering a warm welcome to her. She's trying to figure everything out. But the few people that do show love to her are just, it's beautiful. I highly recommend this one. Maybe I like this one more. Yeah, I think I did, because the love and the compassion shown in this, and just she helped people when you felt like that they didn't deserve it. I can't say much more. There's a cute romance in here too. Read this one. Okay, this one I think I like more. More that I think about it, it's coming back. It's coming back to me now. So, okay, I think, is that it? Y'all, this video is so long. I'm sorry. I can't talk about historical fiction. This is my final book here, okay? Without talking about Outlander. You already know, like, Jamie and Claire are my favorite couple of all time, okay? Y'all already know. I have made bookmarks for this, okay? I did this. It's just, this story, if you don't know what this is all about a woman who falls through time. Claire falls through time. And she touches the stones in Scotland, and she falls through time and meets this amazing Scottish man, Jamie Fraser. Need I say more? Everything goes on from there. I mean, there is political intrigue. There is crazy stuff going on with war. Just love, and they go through so much. Jamie and Claire go through so much in this story. Y'all, I'm going to reread this in November. I've reread this twice, and it really is, it stands the test of time for me. It's not clean, and I'm sorry, but it is my favorite series of all time. So I need to stop apologizing. Y'all already know. What am I doing? Like, it is what I love. Everybody has the books that they love, and that is my favorite series. It's what got me into loving historical. It just is. So, I think it's what got me into loving historical romance, historical fiction. Not every book is a 5-star. There are so many things in this that I don't agree with, yes. But I still love Jamie and Claire's, like, their family. We follow them from, like, when they were in their 20s all the way to in their 60s in book 9. Their family, the generational story there. There's so much that I love that I overlook the other things I don't like. So that's the best way I can explain it. But yeah, there's still things I don't agree with this, but I don't agree with a lot of things in books either. So, I mean, hey, that's fine. So yeah, this video is way too long, but hey, we here and I did do it. Girl needs some water, okay? Yeah, that's it for this video. I hope that you found some new authors or new books that you've not read before. Yeah, let me know down in the comments. Are there any of these books that you've read that you loved, or maybe you didn't love, or just an author that you think you're going to try out from this list? Let me know. I hope that you enjoyed this video. Sorry it's very long, but hey, I love y'all. Just love y'all. I wanted to do this video for you guys. I know I'm long-winded, but y'all can do 2-speed, right? Do y'all do that? I don't even know. I mean, I've tried mine. I already talk fast as it is, so maybe 1.5. But hey, we're here. Thank you all for watching, and I'll see you all in my next video. Bye, y'all.